Addiction is not just smoking and alcohol. Sugar is addiction, social media is addiction, anything you can't stay without is addiction. To be honest, sugar, high fat foods, dairy, all of the things which are not good for you but good to your taste buds actually activate the opiate receptors in your brain, which is what cocaine and morphine would do for you. Food processing industry, they don't care about our health. They care about the money they make. People are disconnected with the food they are eating. Most people are eating food with screens in front of them. We don't eat with our mouth, we eat with our senses. My blood reports are normal and I'm all okay. You are already heading towards diabetes. Your reports may look normal, but you may not be. Instagram cannot be your health coach. I think there's information, but there is no action. If you don't make time for health today, you'll have to make time for illness tomorrow. Most of these restaurants get vegetables from the vegetable vendors, which are rejected by consumers. You're going to get all the sadawa sabzi in the form of matar paneer. I ate tasty matar paneer, but you don't know what that tomato looked like before. You may have 100 problems, but when you have a health problem, you only have one problem.
What is the most harmful nutritional advice currently trending online?
That has to be the...
So Neha, tell me, people say food is fuel, right? But if that were true, why is our relationship with food so emotional, nostalgic, rebellious, and even self-destructive?
Because we have stopped seeing food as fuel now. We actually consider food as entertainment, pleasure, best friend, soother. So we don't see food as something that's nourishing us, that's giving us nutrients, or that's helping our cells and our body to get better. It's just that this food, when I put it in my mouth and when my taste buds come in contact with it, how do I feel about it? What does it ignite in me? And most of the time, people are eating food to feel a certain way. Food is also nostalgia. Food is also memory. We all have a childhood memory with food. There was always a favorite food in our childhood that we would eat and we would feel better, or our grandmother would make for us on certain days. So food has a lot of other meanings and, other associations also than just nutrition. And with so much of processed food that's come in, and especially in the last 2 decades with this food processing industry going berserk, I think,
selling it to us as pleasure.
Yeah, and selling it to us as pleasure, because clearly they don't care about our health. They care about the money they make, right? So we have started falling prey to their claims, and then we buy it and we feel good. And those products are actually engineered in a way to make you feel good. There's actually an entire team that sits, like a food technology team that sits to make sure that every fat, every sugar, every ingredient that they put is in a certain proportion that can get us addicted to their so-called food, which is foodless food. And then we keep consuming that because we want to feel better, and that becomes a habit and a pattern. So what our grandparents ate, so the reason for what our grandparents ate food was to nourish, right? Was to give them energy. Today we are not eating for that reason. We are eating for all other reasons. And pleasure being on top of the chart, which I don't say is wrong. You need to eat food that gives you pleasure. Vitamin P is important. But today even a banana gives me pleasure. Like before my workout, if I eat a banana, I feel very good. So that's sort of pleasure for me because I felt good. But today people see pleasure in a different way. They want to feel that dopamine kick. They want to feel absolutely, like very high on the food that they eat. So they want to numb their emotions. They want to not feel their emotions. So they eat food that gives them pleasure, and they keep eating their food because they keep, they keep craving that dopamine hit. And I think that has got us addicted to all the wrong stuff, which is really not good for us.
So you think people today are nutritionally disconnected and only emotionally connected to the food?
Yeah, I feel so. I think perhaps you're right. People are disconnected with the food they are eating. Tell me how many people actually focus on the food that they eat?
Yeah, I don't think too many.
Today, nobody is doing that. Most people are eating food with screens in front of them, or they're having a conversation. They're really not eating food with their presence and with the full attention. You remember when we were kids, our grandparents always told us, TV mat dekho khana khane ke time, baat mat karo zyada, khane pe dhyan do, chew your food well. They didn't have social media to teach them that. It was the way to live. It was the way how human beings evolved. And that's what you were supposed to do with food. Today we are not connected to the food. We don't even look at our food, and that's why we don't process our food well, because we don't eat with our mouth, we eat with our senses. You know, like right now while you and I are sitting here, if somebody's making pav bhaji in the other room, we are going to smell it. Our olfactory senses are going to get active, and then we're going to salivate. We are going to feel tempted to taste that or even have a bite of that, even if you're not hungry, because there is a sense of food around us, right? Today we're not smelling our food. We're not looking at our food. We are not touching our food. We're just gulping. We're just, you know, just
filling ourselves.
inhaling food. We're not even like chewing, feeling the texture. So we're not using our senses, which actually tells your body to release the juices and the enzymes to digest that food. And no wonder why so many people are moving around with wrecked guts and they have terrible gut issues today, which our grandparents never had. Like an occasional acidity, yes, I did hear my grandmother say acidity, but at a later age, and occasional. It was never like an ongoing thing, and they were not taking antacids like every day, like gems, you know. That was not the lifestyle they lived. But that's because they were connected with food. Today we are, like you rightly said, we are connected to food, but emotionally, we just want to feel better.
Not nutritionally.
Not nutritionally. We don't care how we are digesting. We don't care what the food is giving us. It's just that, okay, is it making me feel good? So a diet coke makes me feel good, so I'll have it after a meal. I've heard people say diet coke लेती हूँ ना खाने के बाद तो मेरे को digestion better होता है, and I'm like, oh my god, like look at the way people perceive food.
Yeah, the concepts are just out of nowhere.
Yeah.
How can a diet coke help you digest food?
Okay, it has a little carbonated water, so that helps the food go down, but it's doing so much more damage to you, and you don't take a diet coke for digestion. You can have ginger lemon water या अजवाइन हींग का पानी for digestion. Diet coke is not something that you actually drink for the purpose to digest your food. But that's how people perceive it these days.
So tell me, in your 18 years of profession in this line, what's the most common lie people tell themselves about their health?
That my blood reports are normal and I'm all okay. I'm healthy. And that lie is not coming from their inner self, it's coming from that external professional help that they seek, which tells them you're absolutely okay. So they go to a doctor with their blood work and the doctor will say everything's fine because your levels are within the range, right? So, sab theek hai. But actually, sab theek nahi hota hai. In functional medicine, we read reports very differently. So even if it's within the range, we kind of analyze what is it trying to tell us. So, for example, I'll give you a very simple example. Fasting insulin is the normal range in any path lab would be between 3 and 25. And if you have a fasting insulin of 20, and most doctors don't ask you to get a fasting insulin test done, which is a very important parameter to check how insulin resistant are you. Okay, it just gives you a good sort of picture about your insulin health in the body. If your level is at 20, the doctor will tell you you're fine. But in functional medicine, we read it as you are already heading towards diabetes and probably in the next 3 years you'll be a diabetic. That's because we do not want your level to be above 6, max 7.
Wow.
Because if your body produces insulin above 7 in the morning, that means it's heading towards insulin resistance. That means already your cells are not responding to insulin well. That means already there's a blood sugar level imbalance starting to happen in the body. And what we are told, you're normal. So the biggest lie people tell themselves is, मेरे तो blood reports सब ठीक है, सब level में है, मेरे ranges सब ठीक है, and I don't have any health issue. And when I sit with clients and I read and I tell them, you know, this is what this means, because I love educating my clients. I feel if as a practitioner, as a professional, if you're not educating people, you're doing a disservice, because ultimately you want to make them empowered to take care of their own health.
Yeah,
and
why should they keep coming back with the same problem to you again and again? They
And
should know why they have the problem.
Exactly. Why they have the problem, and then you give them a solution. It makes more sense for them to even abide by it and stick on to that path longer, rather than me just giving them a random sheet and saying, please ye jaake follow karo. They'll be like, but why?
Not only that, you get bored of instructions until you understand them.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Education and awareness is the only thing that can bring about sustainable change. So when I educate people and say, this is what your blood report looks like, this is what is happening in your body, and that's why I'm asking you to take this particular food plan or this particular supplement protocol, then they understand and they do it better and they see results, and then they can always take care of their health, once they are done working with me, because then they are equipped with the tools. And I think that lie people need to stop telling themselves, because your reports may look normal, but you may not be normal. And there are many such parameters, like your liver enzymes can speak a lot, your bilirubin levels, your BUN, which is your blood urea nitrogen, which is a byproduct of your protein metabolism. That can tell you a lot about whether are you hydrated, are you protein deficient, what is going on in the body. So that analysis gives you like a completely new perspective about your health and gives you the way forward in the right direction.
So, I've heard a lot of people say, I want to be healthy, but I don't have time. I want to eat right, but I don't find the time. I'm really busy. And I'm honestly not dissing them, because people are really busy. We are managing a lot of things. There was a time when I think people went to work, came back, ate, watched a bit of TV and went to bed.
Yeah.
But now our lives are so demanding when it comes to your children, when it comes to activities, when it comes to sports, when it comes to your own life, working, family, kitchen. I just feel like we today are managing so many aspects that probably the two generations above us didn't. They didn't have the social life we have today. And we're managing everything else on top of that, So I just feel like I hear this a lot. Do you think this is a problem of priority, or do you think it's a problem of awareness?
No, I think it's not awareness, because people, with the amount of social media information that we have today, we are aware. If you're a well-read person and you have even little inclination towards good health, you will keep yourself updated with information. And let me tell you, I think everyone today is on social media. Everyone is on Instagram, YouTube Shorts, and there is no lack of information as such. So awareness is not the problem. I think it's priority, and I absolutely believe in these two statements. One is, if you don't make time for health today, you'll have to make time for illness tomorrow, which is true. And the second one is, you may have 100 problems, but when you have a health problem, you only have one problem.
That's true.
Right? So I actually tell my clients, you know what you need to do? If you want to live better in the next 20 years, and for the next 20 years, you want to enjoy life, you want to live in a body that makes you feel good about yourself. See, actually at the end of the day, it's not about adding more days to your life, because that the medical industry is doing. They'll give you dawai and they'll keep
prolonging.
They'll keep prolonging your your lifespan probably. But what you need to actually do is add more life to your days. Now, if you want to do that, you cannot do that if you're not taking care of your health on a daily basis.
Correct.
It's like you cannot have a big bank balance if you're not putting in, you're not putting in that little savings amount every few days. You cannot expect a big bank balance at the end of the day. So your health is just like that. Every day when you invest a little into your health is when you'll see the health will be so brimming with, vitality, enthusiasm through all the years that you're living. So you need to actually mark an appointment with yourself in your calendar every day. And that is priority. And I feel that is lacking. So when you ask me whether it's priority or awareness है. आप social media पे हो, मैं social media पे हूँ, and we all have it.
Yeah.
But I feel priority is lacking. And so many times it's not about they don't want to do it. It's just that nobody is accountable for them, and nobody is holding them accountable. Basically, आपने आज किया अपने लिए कुछ? Did you even do that? So I tell my clients, I said, I'm there with you for whatever, 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, you're with me. I'll work with you. But after you finish your program with me and you're on your own, how are you going to keep yourself accountable?
Yeah.
For the things that you need to do every day. So that's what I train them with, that, this is what you need to do every day. 1 hour in the day you need to give for yourself. That could be exercise, breathwork, meditation. So I don't give them a diet chart. I give them a daily routine plan. So I work with from the time they wake up to the time they sleep. What are they supposed to do at different times? So I ask them, okay, what time do you wake up? I wake up at 7. Then I send kids to school. I said, okay, do you have like 15 minutes for breath work and meditation sitting in silence? Yes, I have 15 minutes. I said, okay, can you do that? Yes, then I can go to the gym from 8:30 to 9:30. Okay, then you have a small snack, go to the gym, come back, and then the routine starts. Then I also tell them where to add in breathing breaks or where to calm their nervous system, because as an integrative nutrition, it's not just about the food on the plate.
It isn't. It never is.
It never is. And people, thank God for saying that. Thank God, I'm so happy that you even realize that, because most people think nutrition is only about the food.
It isn't.
Nutrition is about how you breathe. It's about how you move. It's about
How you feel.
How you're sleeping. And all of that then translates into how you're feeling, right? So that is what I tell them, that prioritize an appointment with yourself, because otherwise though the day will just move by and you will just at the end of the day feel so empty and be like, I didn't do anything for myself. I did stuff for my kids, for my husband, for my work, but I'm feeling so depleted, you know.
Yeah.
And that's why that appointment with yourself is important. And if you don't put it in the calendar, you'll never get that thing done. So you have to do it.
You know, it's really funny what we spoke about, how awareness, you know, everyone has it, right? Like you said, there's no dearth of information online and everyone has access to it. So we're living in a time where people are so aware about obesity, hormonal issues, metabolic digestion, everything you can think of related to nutrition and body. Yet, all the diseases and problems are exploding. Why do you think that is?
I think there's information, but there is no action.
Yeah, I don't
the
think
right
it's
direction.
translating into transformation.
Because there is so much information, but you don't know where to start. Like literally, I've had people come to me and say, you know, Neha, I'm feeling so confused. And I'm so lost, because whenever I go on Instagram, there are 10 people talking 10 different things about the same subject.
Yeah.
And I don't know what to follow. And that social media access and overexposure, I feel, has taken us away from our own intuitive knowing of what is good for us. We have got disconnected from our own intuition, with the voice inside which actually tells you that, okay, you know, this is good for you. Like, Ashna, have water now, you're thirsty. But suddenly you'll have a video which will say, don't drink water at this time, or drink water like this. And you'll actually think, am I thirsty, or should I actually believe that information and follow that? You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, somewhere I think deep down it starts to play on your mind subconsciously, even though you may not believe the information.
Yeah.
If I've seen 5, I don't know, articles or videos or reels or shorts based on, let's say, banana is very fattening, even if I don't want to believe it and I think it's rubbish, somewhere subconsciously that information is seeped in. And I will look at banana as a fattening fruit.
At least there'll be one crossing thought when you pick up a banana.
Yeah.
That
It
नहीं
seeps
कर
in.
देगा, नहीं करेगा. You know, then you'll kind of dismiss it.
Yeah.
But that one thought will cross, because somewhere, and you're right, our subconscious is so active. It's recording every moment, every microsecond, right?
Yeah, we're picking up all the information.
Yeah. So when you're actually picking up that information and it's stored in your subconscious, it comes up at a time when you have to take that action, and then you're just paralyzed. You can't take that action because you don't know whether that's right for you or no. Somebody will say do strength training. Somebody will say do HIIT. Somebody will say no, just do walking. But then you're like, what
And then
am I
everybody will
supposed to
say
do?
everything is wrecking your knees. So now you're thinking, what should I do?
Yeah.
You know?
So I feel people are not able to do what they hear, and whatever information they are exposed to is because there is no clarity, and that's where you need to draw a boundary. That's why you need to seek professional help, because today you might not know what to do with your body because you've been intuitively disconnected with yourself. You have actually been pushed towards that with the social media overflow in our life. But you have to ask yourself, okay, right now I don't feel connected to myself. I don't know what to do with myself. Can I please seek help from a professional and understand my body and get that intuitive connection back?
Yeah.
Because today a professional can guide you and say, okay, your body needs this because this is what is happening in your body. Rather than going through that entire, path of trial and error and all the suffering and all the disappointment that you buy for yourself by just trying multiple things and not knowing then where you land. I've had clients like that who come to me, they say, since 6 months, I've been trying this. It just doesn't work, Neha. It just doesn't work. Like the other day, I had a client who came and she said, Neha, I've been doing intense strength training for like 6 months. And I have a trainer, he trains me well. I do it like 4 times a week. I'm eating right. I'm having so much protein. My weight is not budging by a gram. You know what I had to tell her? I said, just stop weight training. So she looked at me like that. She's like,
Why?
why? I said, because your body is under too much stress right now. with her parameters, I knew there is a lot of stress in the body. I said, there is a lot of stress in your system. So when you're doing intense weight training, your body is seeing that also as a source of stress, and instead of giving you better metabolism, it's putting you in survival mode and actually storing more fat where it should be burning more fat. She said, are you serious? I've never thought of it this way. I've never heard anyone say this. I said, exactly. Just give me 1 week. No weight training. Just go walk, do a little stretches, do yoga, soak in some sunlight, and we'll cut down your protein also. We'll just eat normal ghar ka khana. She said, Neha, I really don't know how to trust what you're saying. Obviously because you've been conditioned to think, weight training karo, protein lo. So I said, give me 1 week, 6 days. I don't think that's too much. She's saying, yeah, 6 days I can try it. I said, but try it with all the faith. Trust the process. She's saying, yeah, I've come to you. I'll trust the process. She came to me after a week, 1.5 kg down. And she looked at her scale and she's like, I said, now you see? Now you see, sometimes the information that you are fed, that this is the right path, every woman has to do this, may not be right for you. So you need to understand what your body is telling you, and right now you don't understand because you've been disconnected. You don't know how to listen to your body.
Yeah.
But at least listen to a professional who is now understanding and telling you, mat karo. I'm here to give you results, because ultimately I am in this profession and I wake up every day to do what I do is because of the transformations I see. So, and that's the kind of results I see, and then people are like, okay, now I trust you completely. Now I've seen change.
Yeah.
And change drives more motivation and action.
Modern food, I feel like, has genuinely also become really complex for the human body. If you look back at our childhood, or you look back at our grandparents' time, it was very simple. There were some foods that were meant for afternoon only. There were some foods that were meant for night. There were some foods meant for summer, some foods meant for winter. But as the industry is growing and, like you said, is becoming more and more complex, everything is available firstly all around the year, any time of the day. Everything is eaten everywhere at all times.
Yeah.
And I think consumption has also become sort of like, without thought. The consumption is, people are like, I'm eating a pasta, but it doesn't matter because I've added a salad with it. But you're eating it at 9 p.m., 10 p.m., which wouldn't be normal, I think, 2 decades ago. You wouldn't be doing that for your system. Do you think this kind of modern nutrition has really impacted our body, and how?
Yes, you've actually hit the nail, and I feel, I don't want to call it modern nutrition. It's just modern food system. It's not nutrition. Nothing is nutritious about this food system. You want to eat something right now and it's available at the tap of your finger. This was not available, I think, till even 5 years back.
Yeah.
It's just in the last 5 years that we've seen that. And it's getting worse by the day with quick commerce and with these food apps coming in, and each of them is competing with one another. And if one is getting you food in 20 minutes, the other one will say, I'm getting it to you in 10 minutes. Next, it will be in like 1 minute, I'll get the food. They'll be standing outside your house with the food. Seems like, and I think it's chaotic, it's unnecessary, and it's absolutely damaging in many ways. Because we as consumers are not drawing that boundary. See, if it's available and if it's convenience, we will always choose that. And convenience, if you keep choosing convenience all the time, it becomes a habit. Because if you've tasted convenience, then hard work is something that doesn't feel very good. But this was not there some decades back, where we didn't have food like literally available right now.
Even on the click of a finger.
No, not at all. If we even wanted to order from a restaurant, we had to, I don't know if you had that, but all houses had the different menus of different restaurants in a bag or in a pouch, and then we would sit and see every menu and be like, okay, where to order from? Then we would call that particular restaurant and say, ye order hai hamara.
And it had to be a joint consensus of the family.
Entire family. And then the restaurant would say, 1 ghanta lagega, 1.5 ghanta lagega. Like, we've come from that era of food.
And that was also not common. We went out to eat once a week.
Once in a fortnight.
Yeah, once a week, once in a fortnight.
Yeah. And our grandparents didn't have that also.
Yeah.
They only ate home-cooked food, and I don't think there were restaurants then. Even if there were these Udipis and, South Indian restaurants that they would go to. Today, you tell me the number of restaurants that are growing by every second in every city. And then there are these quick commerce, and then food on the click of your finger. How do you think a common man is not going to get lured into it, or get absolutely
Dependent on it also after a while.
and now you're getting dependent because obviously you don't have house help, everyone's working, people are busy, the man and the man and woman of the house all are working. It's just basically there's no culture of provider and nurturer now, right? So everything's got very like sort of entangled, and it's blurred. The lines are very blurred, that this is your role, this is my role. Now nobody has a role, everyone is doing everything. So the woman will say, why should I cook? Why should I spend time? Because I have work. The man will say, obviously I don't know how to cook and how to do all of this. Then sometimes you don't get cooks. In urban cities, getting cooks is so difficult. So then you say, chalo bahar se manga lenge. And that then becomes a habit. And I think most of us today are living that kind of a life. So when you say the modern nutrition, there is no nutrition. There is modern convenience.
And what are we eating in that?
Obviously outside they're not going to give you cold pressed oil ka khana, and they're not going to add the best salt for you. They're not going to make food. They're not going to make food in fresh oil for you all the time. They're definitely going to reuse and reheat the oil. And also the setup, the kitchen setup is not going to be as clean as your house, and so much of it is pre-prepped for days, and it's all frozen, and then they remove it and they kind of reheat it and
I think
assemble it and give it to you.
I agree, because any cloud kitchen, you open your Zomato app, and I think any restaurant you click on will have at least 35 to 40 dishes. Now, if my kitchen was to make 35 dishes for guests coming, it would take my cook 2 days.
Absolutely.
To prepare for it. Forget actually serving it, to prepare for it. Now, the kitchen on a Zomato app has to deliver any one of 35 dishes, which means everything is lying ready.
Absolutely.
Okay, and everything is lying frozen. It's very simple math.
And it's on daily basis.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So if there are 35 dishes on a menu on your app, that means everything is lying ready. You click on it and it says 25 to 30 minutes, which means all they're doing is taking it out of the freezer, putting it on the pan, putting some, I don't know, used oil, fresh oil, some oil, making it look tasty, making sure that it's tasty to use, they add enough fat for you, and they send it to you. So you may think you're eating, I don't know, matar paneer for example, but you don't know whether it is actually good paneer, bad paneer, where is the matar from, which oil was used, and that matar paneer, you have no idea, is 600 calories, 800 calories, no calories, no nutrition, you have no idea. You're just consuming it, and then you think to yourself, I just ate 2 bowls,
I ate protein. Paneer kha liya na, then to they'll label it as I ate protein today for lunch. And I'm like, this is such a tunnel vision. Like, it's just like, paneer dekh liya, usko protein bol diya, but baki sari cheeze ignore kar di.
Yeah, I think the danger lies in not only the fact that we are consuming at that speed. I think the danger also lies in the missing information. And like you said, we are so conditioned, our life is becoming so busy that we don't actually stop to question what we are consuming. And no matter what, how much ever people say, I'm very aware, I only order from this organic restaurant, I only order from this healthy place, I'm only ordering salads, but you don't know what you're consuming, because just do the simple math. If there are 40 dishes, nobody can prepare 40 dishes and dish it out to you in 25 minutes. So whatever you're consuming is pre-ready.
Absolutely.
And which means it's nutrition gone.
Nutrition gone, and even the quality is questionable, right?
Correct.
You don't know what kind of vegetables. And by the way, most of these restaurants get vegetables from the vegetable vendors, which are rejected by consumers. So all the sadawa tomato and the gajar and all the things that we eat are actually, and this is one vegetable vendor, he told me this. He said, madam, ye sab to restaurants mein jata hai, jo bhi bach jata hai. And I was like,
is it because of cost?
Of course, it's lower on cost, right? So, do you think they can afford, with this rate of inflation, to give you a dish for 200 rupees?
When the ingredient costs 400.
Or even if not 400, even, whatever it is. So, they have to source it cheaper. They have to make sure that they are getting stuff which is fitting their budget, and then they add their markup. So, obviously, you're going to get all the sadawa sabzi in the form of matar paneer, and you say, I ate tasty matar paneer, but you don't know what that tomato looked like before it was into the gravy. So
tell me, what does your relationship with food look like privately? When no one's watching, there's no protocol, because you're human too, right? Is it always conscious, or does the nutritionist sometimes disappear and just the human remains?
So I'll tell you, the other day I posted a post on Instagram which said, what you do in private shows in public. So the way you eat shows on your body. The way you manage your stress shows in your conversations. The way you sleep shows under your eyes. All of that shows. So basically, you can't hide anything beyond a point. And for me, integrity is the most important thing. And it's not just with my clients, it's also with myself. And I was always not this nutritionist. I was actually, to be honest, I used to call myself a hypocrite when I started into this journey. I used to tell clients, ye mat khao, don't have fried, don't have this. And I was newly married then. And in my house, there was all this fried stuff made and, samosas and this, and I would eat it. And while eating that samosa, I would actually tell myself, what a hypocrite you are, Neha. You just told your client not to eat it and you're eating it. And that journey of self-transformation also and changing my own habits was really something that I had to work on. Because every time I would do that, I would feel terrible about myself. And I slowly, steadily started working on my own habits then. And eventually, of course, it became a habit. Now, if you ask me who is Neha in private, Neha is the same in private what she tells her clients to be. Because I was finding this misalignment with myself and my professional self and my personal self, and I had to sort of amalgamate that. I'm like, if I don't bring these two Nehas together, you'll not be able to live in this field longer, you'll not be able to sustain Neha. So I had to work on myself to reach at this point where now if I tell you, Ashna, don't eat this, I believe in it. And I do it for myself. Having said that, most of the times I'm very conscious. At home, I have my meals. I eat just 4 meals a day, my breakfast, my lunch. There's a small evening snack, could be a fruit, could be a protein shake, and then there's dinner. So very light dinner. So basically, I am
living what you're teaching.
I'm living what I'm teaching, and I'm very, very careful about my daily routine. But then if you ask me, is Neha also a human? Yes, of course. When I'm out with friends, when I'm at a party or if there is a spread of buffet in front of me, I will eat what is there and I will choose the best evil out of the all that's served to me, right? So the best out of the worst is what I pick up, and the most important thing is I do not eat with guilt. So even if I've picked up like a bread and I know it's maida, but it's not like I'll beat myself up after that and be like, "Arey, maine maida kha liya aaj yaar, maine maida kha liya." I won't do that. I'll be like, okay, this is what was there in front of me. This was the best option. Forget the best option. I felt like eating it. Big deal. Neha, you feel like eating it, take it. And then you go work out, you do your routine, you sleep well.
Yeah, I think once in a while, guilty pleasures we all should indulge in. I mean, that's the whole point, right? If you're healthy Monday to Friday, Monday to Saturday, and one Sunday afternoon you want to go for a bene dosa, you should treat yourself.
I don't think that's wrong because that keeps you going on the path. Restriction, in fact, makes you fall off track faster. But balance and indulgence once in a while actually makes you look forward to even the healthy part of the journey and even the unhealthy part of the journey. So it's a beautiful balance which you need to find. And I think that makes you reach your health goals faster and it helps you to sustain longer.
I can agree because I think whenever I have treated myself, I consciously after that want to just be disciplined.
Yeah.
Like no one has to tell me. I just know it. Like I just want to do it. I'm looking forward to the discipline.
Yeah.
It's like 2 days or 1 day of indulgence and I'm like done. Next 7 days, I'm not going out. I'm not eating out. But it has to come from within. I think that balance, I just feel like it's not just food. A lot of people, correct me if I'm wrong. This is just my analysis. A lot of people focus on, I want to be disciplined with food. I want to be disciplined in nutrition. I need to take a diet plan from somebody because I'm not able to correct myself. But I feel like as a human being, if you really have discipline, right? If you're disciplined as a person, it'll come in every aspect. So let's say I'm a disciplined person. For example, I genuinely am. So I will make sure I have 7 workouts a week, whether it's twice in a day sometimes or 3 times in 4 days, whichever format it is.
Yeah.
But I am that disciplined. I will wake up at a particular time, I'll sleep at a particular, and I'm not praising myself. I'm just saying that's just who I am. I grew up in a very regimented way, and probably that's just how life has made me because I grew up like that.
Yeah.
Even when it comes to nutrition, I don't have to try. I just am disciplined. If it has to come to waking up, I am disciplined. Comes to sleeping, I am disciplined. Whatever I do in moderation. But I feel like the common thread is not food, nutrition, me putting so much thought into it. I think the common thread is discipline.
That's true.
And I think a lot of people confuse that, I'm so busy at work, I don't get time to come back home at time. That's why I just eat whatever's available in the fridge or whatever my wife has left for me or whatever my husband's made for me, vice versa. I don't get the time to look into nutrition. Hence, I put on all the weight. I've been up 10 kgs. I think people see it as an outside thing. Nutrition is something very separate to my life. I have time for everything else. I'm working so hard, but I don't have time for this. And people say that for even working out or looking after their health. You know, I'm so busy. I'm traveling 7 days a week. I don't get time to work out. I don't get time to do all this, what you're doing. People had that kind of stories. They console themselves.
Yeah.
But I feel like if you have discipline, just that basic discipline, it will trickle down into everything you do.
That's true, but I'll tell you what, Ashna, what I've seen in my practice is to get to that discipline, sometimes you need help because there's so much that life throws at you that you have to attend to a lot of things. And that's where nutrition, workout, and self care, I would say self care and work on self becomes a
Backseat.
yeah, it takes a backseat and it's not on your priority list because, okay, if there's an issue with your child's school, you have to first, take care of that. Or if there's a relationship problem, there's a financial issue, or if there is someone sick in the family and you have to be the caregiver, then your attention is all on that. That's where a health coach comes in the picture, where if you come to me today, I will help you set your routine and I will also give you the tools that will help you to then merge every aspect of self-care into your daily life. So what I tell my clients is, I know it's very difficult. In an Indian household, I think the most dreading question for every woman is, "Aaj khana kya banao?" Right?
Yeah.
That's what you ask your
Painful.
husbands or you. It's like it's a torture for women to ask the family kya banao because सब लोगों से अलग answer मिलता है. And then obviously, how does she figure out what is that one thing to make that everyone will like? So I always tell my clients, I say, sit with your cook, sit with your husband, sit with your child, whoever is, making the decision to what to eat in the family, sit with them, have a menu planner, a meal planner for the week, and write down what you're going to eat from Monday to Sunday. Okay, every day. So just take that half an hour every Sunday. Write down what is my breakfast for each day, lunch, dinner. If you have your menu in place, you know what groceries to get, you give it to your cook. Or even if you're cooking, you know what preps you have to do. Now you don't have to think. I think the most painful part is to think what to do. But if you've thought prior and tomorrow morning you just have to execute it, execution is not painful. Thinking is painful.
Planning it out.
Planning, organizing, arranging, that's painful. You do it on one day, your rest 7 days are sorted. And most of my clients who've done that, they came back telling me, Neha, I could abide by to the plan like so well, like 90% I was at it. 10% obviously you have some social commitments or something unforeseen comes up and you kind of give in. But the whole point is that you planned and that plan worked. So how do you integrate and organize something that you're not prioritizing into your routine? Then you don't have an excuse to not do it because now it's on paper, it's a plan, right? Also, how to integrate workout. Okay, you don't have 1 hour in the day. How do you get discipline that you put that into your routine and maybe you do 2 pockets of half an hour and not a 1 hour at stretch because you don't have that time. But then you need someone to tell you that, to get you on track. You keep doing that for a bit and once you do that, it becomes habit. Then you don't have to think about it. But I think that's why professional help is important and that's why Instagram cannot be your health coach.
So let's talk about a little bit about psychology of eating. Why we eat the way we do. When someone constantly craves sugar, fried food, processed food, chips, chocolates, ice creams, is that biology, emotional regulation, or do you think it's purely addiction in today's world?
I think it's a mix of all. But let me break it down for you. Cravings are a great way for your body to tell you what is it lacking inside, both physically and emotionally. So when a client tells me they're craving chocolate, I explain them why they're craving it. So I'll explain to you why a craving means what it means. So if you're craving chocolate, probably you have magnesium deficiency or maybe, dopamine, lack of dopamine where you don't feel that feel-good hormone which could be coming from your gut. If your gut is bad, you won't have it and you won't feel it. If you crave a lot of salty things, maybe you have electrolyte imbalance, you don't have enough electrolytes in the body, or you have excess stress, so high cortisol, and your adrenal gland is weak, right? So it craves for a lot of salt. If you're craving for sugar, sugar in any form, desserts, pastries, cookies, Indian sweets, whatever that is, again, that could mean you have lack of B vitamins, or you have blood sugar level imbalance, or you have a protein deficiency. But when we talk about sugar, it could also mean that you lack sweetness in life in general. You really don't have too much sweetness in life. Like, maybe you're very bitter. You're very bitter towards things, towards situations, towards people, or you've not forgiven someone and you're holding that grudge. And the body constantly keeps craving sweet because it's just a way to soothe itself. And sometimes your sugar craving could be also coming from a candida or a yeast overgrowth in your gut, because when these microorganisms grow in your gut, they want sugar. So if they want sugar, they'll make you crave sugar. So you see, there are so many ways to decode your cravings. Then if you're craving for, say, ice cream, fatty foods, again, that could mean that you're lacking essential fatty acids, omega-3, or you're not feeling safe and grounded. Because, when we eat something heavy, fried, it makes you grounded. It makes you feel relaxed in that moment. So if your body is craving for that, maybe you're not feeling grounded, maybe you're too much in your head. And that's why the body is craving that. Or maybe you just want a little, maybe in life you're craving a cuddle. And that's why you want to eat that tub of ice cream, because it gives you that grounding feeling. It feels like a cuddle from the inside. And that's how you actually decode cravings. There are so many ways. So when I sit with a client and when they say I'm craving this, obviously I go through their reports and understand their physiology, biology, what is happening in the body. But there are times I've had to tell people, why you're craving this? Because you're lacking joy in your life, or because you've not forgiven enough. And then they say, really? And then give them those techniques. And when they come back, once the physiology is balanced, once the emotional side is balanced, they actually come back telling me, Neha, I don't crave for sugar anymore now. I feel so satisfied
Also, I think
in the way I
sometimes
eat.
it can be habit. If you have a habit, like I had a habit of eating something sweet after dinner, for
Yes.
example. And it was a habit that I had since I was a kid,
Yeah.
because my granddad used to eat it. So after dinner, we would sit on the dining table and he had this platter that would come and it had a little bit of fruit and it had 2 mithais and it would have a chocolate. So it was like a dessert platter.
Yeah.
And actually thinking back, wow, he had that thing of a dessert platter being served to him every night. Every night on the dining table. And the only person he would sit and eat it was with me. I was 6, 7, 8. Now it's almost like conditioning, right? I grew up like that. Suddenly I remember, I think it was lockdown and we were home a lot and you couldn't consume that much of everything because we weren't moving out, right? We weren't really like out and about. And actually I made a conscious decision that, what, after dinner I'm going to stop eating. So after dinner I started drinking chamomile tea. And it was just that conditioning. That platter that I was eating till I was that age, 30 years of eating that platter, I decided, what, I'm not going to eat sugar. And honestly, after a month, I didn't crave that sugar after dinner. So sometimes it's just conditioning.
Yeah, so
you're
coming to
so
that-
used to like your household being a certain way, your parents, grandparents being a certain way. You've not even decided those habits and you've got it. So sometimes it could be not biology, sometimes it could not be mental health, sometimes it could be not anything. Just the fact that your environment made you so conditioned to consume.
Exactly, that's what I was coming to. So it's a mix of all, right? So that's physiology, that's your emotional side, and then there's addiction. So because of your environment or because of how you were brought up, like I wanted to eat sweet after my lunch every day. I was a sugar addict. As a kid, I would have cake, bonbon biscuit, and if nothing was there, I would eat like sugar, just sugar. So that was me in childhood. So I can completely feel what you also experienced, because even in my house there was sweet after every meal. So that was conditioning, that was habit.
Yeah.
And that became an addiction, because to be honest, sugar, high fat foods, dairy, so all of the things which are not good for you but good, they taste good to your taste buds, actually activate the opiate receptors in your brain, which is like what cocaine and morphine would do for you, right? So that's what they activate, and they get you addicted to that. So yes, there's conditioning, there's habit, and that leads to addiction. Because today, if I give you banana every day and for 10 days I don't give you banana, you won't be addicted. You'll be like, okay, banana khaya, fir banana nahi mila, to nahi khaya. But sugar, ice creams, chocolates, all these high fat, high sugar foods, if you eat it for a certain time and then if you don't get it, there'll be this massive craving towards it. You'll want it.
Yeah, you feel the lack.
That's not the same with a fruit or a healthy thing, right? Because these foods activate the opiate receptors and they actually get you addicted to it, just like a drug would. So you need to then work towards breaking that addiction. So I tell people, I said, addiction is not just smoking and alcohol. Sugar is addiction, social media is addiction. Anything that gives you constant dopamine hit and you can't stay without it is addiction. So I think the world is an addict today.
Tell me, which childhood patterns do you see reflected in adult eating behaviors? Which are the most common ones?
So the eating behaviors that move into your adulthood from your childhood is what we are exposed to in our childhood, right? So today if you see kids, they are exposed to screens all the time when they are eating. They are not eating mindfully, okay? They are not eating with the senses, like I said. They're not chewing their food well. And today you'll see most adults eat like that. So the eating behavior in your childhood, the way you ate, and again what you were exposed to as a habit, moves with you in your adulthood. So today if you ask an adult not to see screens, they won't know how to not eat without screens because it's coming from their childhood. You ask them to chew well, they won't know how to do it because the parents never told the kids you have to chew your food 20 times at least before you swallow it. What we tell our kids is, jaldi khao, because we want to get done with that work, right? So eat fast, eat fast. If you're telling the child to eat fast, he's going to swallow the food without chewing it. He's not going to really take time to eat. And if the child eats slowly, we actually condemn the child and say, kitna slow khata hai. It's not really seen as a good habit. It's seen as such a waste of time. Why are you eating so slow? And that I feel translates even in the adulthood, and that eventually causes a lot of gut issues. So children today are having a lot of gut issues, and the clients I see, the younger clients that I see are struggling with digestion, are struggling with depression. I have a 6-year-old who has an autoimmune thyroid condition. And that is probably a mix of the way she's been eating and what she's been eating, right? So it's everything, and the amount of stress probably the child was exposed to. So everything becomes a part of their adulthood. Also, I think what they see their parents do.
Yeah, I think that's very important.
That goes into their adulthood, even if they are not doing it. If they see their parents having Diet Coke with every meal. So as kids, they may not be having it, but once they become teenagers, they also fall into that habit. If they see their father drinking alcohol every night or smoking, then the child is most likely to adopt those habits because it's just a normal thing for them.
Yeah,
it's normalized in their household,
yeah,
right?
Environmental conditioning.
So all of that then becomes a part of the adulthood, and then when you tell them to change, it's a little too late because already your health quotient has started declining by then because the childhood foundation was not very strong and good.
So a lot of times, we've seen and we've heard, and I'm sure people talk about it a lot more than they did before, that binge eating is related to lack of emotional safety. Now people know this concept, but I don't think people actually see people with binge eating with kindness. They don't view family members who have binge eating. They don't look at them with, I'm going to say it again. People who have family members who are eating that, I don't think we view them with that problem.
Yeah.
I think we've normalized it. It's become a part of society, it's become a part of culture that, yeah, it's okay. There are some people, they love food. They are foodies. But actually, binge eating is related to emotional safety issues.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
Yes, absolutely. Like I said, food is not seen as a form of nutrition now. Food is seen as something that can soothe you, that can make you run away from your emotions, because today most of the people don't want to feel their emotions. If you're not feeling your emotions, you're not healing your emotions. If you're not healing, the trigger is always going to be suppressed in your body, and somewhere or the other, if there's any episode in life, the trigger will come back and you'll be like, okay, I can't deal with this. I need to feel better in the moment. And if you want to feel better in the moment, food is the most quickest option. That's why people have resorted to food as an emotional safety measure, because it's easy. It's easy access and it gives you quick dopamine release, and that just makes you feel better and numb for like those few minutes or few hours. And then you go back to feeling guilty about it. So most people don't talk about binge eaters is that guilt is a very big part of the action they do. So when they eat, they're feeling good. They don't realize how much they're eating. They're eating extra food and more food than what their body requires. And after that, the guilt follows and they get stuck in that cycle.
Loop.
Yeah. And that guilt is the worst thing, because guilt is not a good emotion. It's a heavy, dark emotion. And you're obviously not producing your endorphins and all the oxytocin and dopamine that time. All you're producing is cortisol. So again, what happens in binge eating is that your body is not prepared for the food. You're just eating because you want to soothe an emotion. It's not that your body is hungry. It's not physically hungry to digest, absorb and assimilate that food. You're shoving food in your mouth because you want to numb a part of your brain that doesn't want to feel that emotion, right? So that food sits in your gut longer, it doesn't get digested, it causes a lot of bloating, gut lining damage, feeds the bad bacteria in your gut, and then eventually you have gut issues. And when you have gut issues, you have more binge eating episodes and cravings. So it's a vicious loop, it's a vicious cycle that people are stuck in. And to get out of that, you really need help. And the most important thing that you can do to stop binge eating is to pause. There is no better way to stop that action other than pausing, because that's a very impulsive and autopilot action. It's very subconscious. You feel an emotion, you don't want to feel it, you see food, you just put it in your mouth and you numb it. But before you put that food in your mouth, if you can just pause for 3 minutes and just stay still, breathe and ask yourself, what is it that I'm feeling? Why am I feeling so unrestful, uneasy, and so discomforted within my being? Why am I feeling that? You'll get an answer. You probably name an emotion. Even if you don't name an emotion, you ask yourself, do I really need to eat that? That is where you break that subconscious pattern. Because otherwise it's very autopilot. You have to break the subconscious pattern by asking the question, do I really need it? And if the answer is yes, okay, go for it, but now you did it with awareness. Most of the times, that feeling or that craving to eat something passes if you pause for those 3 to 4 minutes. And then you can always do something that's better. So binge eating is low level coping mechanism. You can do something that's a high level coping mechanism. So maybe talk to a friend, do some breath work, quickly just move or shake your body. You know, you see dogs when they sleep for a very long time, they get up and they just shake. That's resetting their system. You reset your system, shake it out. Or, you know, just maybe watch something on TV that distracts your mind from the food. So that is a better coping mechanism than food. And to understand that, you actually have to give yourself that pause. But that awareness is important, which again people are lacking, and you need help for the same.
Tell me some challenging popular beliefs in nutrition. Okay, let's talk about that. Let's challenge some very widely accepted beliefs. Are calories really the full story of weight loss?
Not at all. I think in my 18 years of my career, I have not given a calorie measured diet to anyone, because at the end of the day, your body is not reading numbers, it's actually analyzing the nutrients and the quality of the food that's come in. Calories is just one part of the puzzle, but you have hormones, you have bones, you have muscles, you have water, you have so much within your body that needs balance. And calories is just such a vague and a very surface level concept to help people get better at a cellular level, right? Now, let me give you an example how the quality of calories matters. I have a piece of cake which is 100 calories. I have a piece of carrot which is 100 calories. That piece of cake has all the wrong ingredients. It has maida, fat, sugar. And the carrot has all the good ingredients. It has all the vitamins, minerals, fiber. Now, when I eat this, how my body processes the cake is very different than how my body processes
the carrot.
The carrot, right? So the cake will go in, cause gut damage, cause irritation, increase blood sugar levels, cause insulin havoc, you know, insulin imbalances. Whereas the carrot has fiber, so it feeds the good microbes in my gut. It gives me vitamins, it heals my gut lining, it balances my blood sugar level. So now 2 people could be eating the same calorie diet, measured, the number could be the same, but depends what they are eating as a part of their calorie list. And that then translates into how their hormones will behave, how their gut will behave, how their weight will fluctuate, how their moods will be. all of that depends on the quality of the calories.
Yeah, I think that number can become inconsequential if you're not really monitoring what those calories are.
It is so, it's just, not even uh, something that you can pay attention to if you are not paying attention to the quality. So why are you just hyper focused on that one number that you need to intake? The body has no calculator inside where it's calculating itna aaya, itna gaya. There is no accountant sitting inside your body, right? Body is saying, okay, I have this now. How can I deal with this? And how can I deal with this? So this, the body has to work harder to process and doesn't feel good on. This makes the body feel good, and the body knows how to process, because this is something that came from nature. So I think instead of just focusing on calories, you focus on the quality of the food you eat. You focus on your hunger cues. Are you hungry or are you not hungry? Because most calorie dependent diets make you eat a certain number of calories through the day, whether you're hungry or not hungry. Now, if I'm not hungry and I'm putting food in, the body is not prepared for digestion. And if I'm hungry and I'm not giving food because my calorie chart doesn't allow me to eat that amount of food, then I'm doing a disservice to my body. I'm not giving the body what it needs. So you have to intuitively listen to your body. When you're hungry, eat. Then what you're eating is important. And if you stick by that, you don't really need to measure one morsel of food that you're eating, or eat with cups and spoons and all that. I think that's the most obnoxious thing I've seen in the whole health and wellness space, is where you eat with cups and measures and you actually measure your roti. And I've seen dietitians do that, give that to their clients, and I'm like, are they making you health independent? Are they making you more dependent on stupid things that are not sustainable? You can't roam around with cups and spoons everywhere and keep counting calories everywhere you go. So it's not sustainable and it's not practical.
So let's talk about the second one. Tell me, is eat less, move more an outdated idea?
Absolutely. Eating less puts your body in survival mode. Moving more adds more stress to your body if you're not doing it in balance. So the whole idea is eat right and move well and move every day.
Third one, there's constant debate around diets, keto, vegan, IF. What are your thoughts on all three?
Keto, absolutely a no-no. I'm a vegan, so I know how much it's helped my body. So I absolutely believe in it. But again, veganism can be very misunderstood, because people say also Oreo is vegan, Biscoff is vegan, even your chips are vegan. So veganism, it has to be whole food, plant-based diet. When you're talking about veganism, it has to be nature-given foods. Intermittent fasting, yes, I believe in it. Our ancestors believed in it, but there's a way to do it. So 12-hour fasting for everybody, 16-hour for women especially, to be done under guidance, because it can create havoc with their hormones and their metabolism.
Do you believe there's one ideal diet for humans, or are we fundamentally different biologically?
We are bio-individuals. No two people's thumbprint is the same, right? So we need to understand our own body, our own constitution, and work with that. And when you do that, the body feels a sense of balance and keeps you in the state of equilibrium and health, and does not bring up diseases which we dread, and we don't want to have diseases, right? In future, diseases are nothing but a state of imbalance. So when you work with your body and your constitution, you create that sense of balance and you stay away from diseases.
Fourth one, is the idea of superfoods a marketing myth?
Well, right now, yes, it's a marketing myth, but superfoods are for real. Basically, every food that has nutrients, antioxidants, minerals, fiber, something that's great for your body is a superfood. So basically, right now, this whole term has been coined to make us eat the foods that our grandparents ate. And because we are so now, exposed, and we are so educated, we need newer terms to fall
in love with those things.
In love with, yeah, I mean, even your amla is a superfood. Even your curry leaves is a superfood. Your moringa, which our grandparents ate. So not that anything new is coming out of it, but it's just a new term. And I think if it works to get people to eat that, it's
so
great then. Yeah.
What is the most harmful nutritional advice currently trending online?
That has to be the OMAD, which is 1 meal a day. And I saw a lot of celebrities talking about it, where they say, I just eat 1 meal a day and I've lost so much weight. No names taken here, but it's a very popular celebrity who's spoken about this. And I was like, what are you even talking about? Today, we don't live the life of a yogi or a sattvic life where you can eat 1 meal a day and sustain. You're not sitting hours in meditation and doing breath work and pranayam where your body doesn't need nutrients and it's in the most calmest state of its nervous system. We are in a chaotic and a very, very busy
Environment.
How can you tell people to eat one meal a day? And probably, you're just setting a wrong example, because if people start eating one meal a day with that hectic lifestyle, they're going to be nutrition deficient. They're going to land up with health issues. They're going to land up with low iron levels, with anemia, with bone issues. Like, what information are we giving people? And who are these people who talk about this? You can't be talking about this publicly, because it's a very hazardous information and suggestion that you're giving to people.
It won't suit our lifestyle of today.
Not at all. You can't eat one meal a day if you're living a hectic life. Yes, you go to the mountains, you live a very serene and calm life, you breathe all day, you meditate. It's a slow living, you eat sattvic, then you can sustain on one meal a day. But with the kind of mental, emotional stress we are going through, if you eat one meal a day, your cortisol levels are going to be off, and it's going to add more stress to the body.
So let's talk about the future of food. If humans continue to eat the way we are currently eating, what do you think the health landscape will look like in the next 20 years?
We are going to be a gut-wrecked nation if we keep eating like this. Not eating mindfully, eating the wrong food, eating convenience foods, and not moving enough, not sleeping well, not managing stress. A gut-wrecked nation. And I always say, what happens in your gut doesn't stay in your gut. It's not Vegas, it spreads everywhere. So you're going to have a lot of inflammation and fatal diseases, cancer, autoimmune conditions. Like, every house is going to have more of these diseases.
Oh no. Are we moving towards hyper-personalized nutrition where everyone eats differently based on their biology, or do you think we're moving towards one all serves all?
No, we are moving towards hyper-personalized nutrition, especially with the awareness and people who are ready to seek help with professionals. And that is the right step. You work towards a hyper-personalized nutrition for yourself, for your bio-individual needs, and that ways you can maintain your health and stay fit in the long run.
With the rise of AI, biohacking and supplements, do you think we are trying to technologically fix what lifestyle originally broke?
Yeah, we are trying to, and I feel where we are falling short is we're not getting the foundations in place. We are skipping the foundations and the basics and moving to fancier tools and fancier solutions. But till you don't get the foundations in place, none of these are going to work. These are just going to be temporary fix, and nothing's going to change permanently. So AI can't replace human. While it can guide you, but it can't give you the support and the accountability that a human can give you. And human intervention and that energy exchange can really heal you. So that's important. Biohacking is just a new term for all things our ancestors did, like sunlight and walking through the day, doing household chores, moving your body more. All of that is basics. That is biohacking. You're actually doing something to improve the efficiency of your body. And supplements are great, but they have to be done under guidance, under supervision, and in the right dose, in the right timing, at the right timing, and just done in a way that is not one size fits all. So then all of this works.
And the last question would be, if you could redesign the way humans eat from childhood onwards, if I have everyone watching today and they want to redirect nutrition in their household, what would you change first?
I think first things first, today in the modern life, what I would change is the belief that dairy and gluten are the staples and they are literally the holy grail for your health, and I feel that has changed. So you need to move with times, and that's not the same anymore. The dairy that we are consuming today is more harmful than what it was 20 years back, and the industry has completely changed. So has the modern wheat, and these are two things that we overly consume through our day. We actually we abuse the consumption. It's so much of consumption of dairy and wheat through the day, from morning to night, in every meal, be it paneer, dahi, milk and cheese, and then there's bread, roti, pasta, noodles, everything is sort of wheat, right? And these two foods, because the industry has changed so much, fundamentally their structure, their chemistry has changed, which changes our biochemistry. And it's causing inflammation in the gut, it's causing a lot of damage to our hormones, to our metabolism. And if we start reducing that and getting more other plant-based alternatives in, so if you have to have milk, you can do homemade almond milk, seed milks. Instead of wheat, do more millets and add that to your daily routine. A very big chunk of your staple diet will change. And that in itself will change your biology, your gut health, will change your metabolism, will change the way your body feels and behaves. So I think that right now is very important.
You've given me so much to think about, Neha, and I think everyone listening will get a lot of ideas, where they're going wrong in their kitchen, where their household is going wrong in terms of nutrition, and how everyone is perceiving food. And I hope everyone's able to identify what they have done wrong or what they are doing wrong, as I did today. Thank you so much, Neha. It was a brilliant conversation.
Thank you, Ashna. It was an absolute pleasure chatting with you.
Thank you.
Hi guys, this is Neha Ranglani. I'm an integrative nutritionist and a functional medicine practitioner. And if you are somebody who's struggling with an overload of nutrition information, how to bring your balance back into your life, and how to set your kitchen right, then watch this conversation on the Human Thread, streaming on all platforms.